just sat here and had lunch and soaked my feet. And that's something I hadn't done but once or twice, soaking my feet. I did it a bunch in Irwin when I was having swollen ankle problems, but this was just middle of the day. I just walked 12 miles. It's pretty tough terrain. I thought I deserved a foot soak. Pretty awesome. Guess where I am? Quality Inn in Waynesburg. In the laundry room. Yes, once again in the laundry room. Here's a little hiking tip for those of us who are directionally challenged. I see a blaze here, kind of in the middle. I see a trail that goes up that way, and I see a trail that goes down over this way. I assume this probably went to an outlook, so I said, no, that's not it. I'm going that way. But these sticks here are an indicator that you don't want to go that way. When they've rerouted the trail, they'll do this. Sometimes it's bigger logs, and bigger logs we're finding ourselves all the time climbing over, so we're used to seeing it. But when you see a bunch of them stacked up like this that aren't even that big, doesn't matter. That means don't go that way. This doesn't really tell me to go right or left. It just tells me, yeah, you're still on the Appalachian Trail. Good luck, Buster. Well, don't go the wrong way. Pick the other way, and then find out if you're right. Start looking for white blazes down that trail. There's a great little motto to live by, huh? There's some little trail magic you love to see, especially in Virginia. To be honest with you, Virginia has a serious lack of water problem, but this is a welcome sight. A few minutes ago, when I stopped to get to refill my water bottles from those jugs I found by the fence, after I finished doing that, started walking across the gap. There's a road there. Warren Doyle, the godfather of the Appalachian Trail, the guy has hiked it 18 times. I had my third encounter with him. First one was when he was giving a presentation in Damascus, and he was nice enough to take a selfie with me. Second one was at the Outpost, which is a little grocery store in the middle of nowhere. He was sitting there having lunch, and I had my lunch at the same picnic table, and we chit-chatted for a while. This time he was sitting in a car waiting for some of his students for the Hike Smart class he gives. And so some would be coming southbound, some were coming northbound. Anyway, just had a lovely conversation, 20 minutes. Nice guy, smart, knows a lot about the trail, for God's sakes. He's hiked it 18 times. That's 40, 50,000 miles that guy has hiked on this Appalachian Trail. So he's a wealth of information. Anyway, just thought it was interesting. He just kind of pops up out of nowhere, sitting there reading a paper in his car, waiting patiently for his students to come by. I haven't seen a soul this morning. I'm on about mile 5 of what I think will be a 20-mile day. And then when I hit about mile 10, it should lighten up on the terrain, be a little bit flatter, a lot less rocks. Not too bad right now, but I'm going uphill, as you can tell by my breathing. By golly, if I don't have great reception here, I never will. One of these has got to be AT&T, huh? Just emerged from the green tunnel, crossing another little hayfield. You can see where it crosses a small parking lot and then trail goes back into those woods. So that's the next mountain I gotta climb. And that was really not too bad. That's not smoke, that's mist, that's heat coming out of the steam coming out of the mountains. I stopped to filter some water at a nice little water source. Took my pack off and discovered I only have one camp shoe. One camp shoe. So somewhere in the last 5 or 6 miles, actually more like 10 miles I think, I lost a camp shoe. I have no idea how. I mean, it could have broken off the rubber part from the heel. It could have not been properly put on there to begin with. Well, you know, what the hell. I had one glove, now I've got one shoe. And it's all par for the course, I guess. Like I said, by the time I get to Katahdin, this pack's going to be light AF. There's my trail. Most of the way on the Appalachian Trail, it's marked by a white blaze like you see here, about a 2" by 6" piece of white paint on trees and rocks, posts and things like that. Sometimes you come to an intersection. 1, 2, 3. Now, in Virginia, they're putting up these concrete posts. I don't know how long they've been here. And they got these little gray strips around them. If you're not wearing your glasses, you don't even know there's writing on there. It's embossed. And it gives you directions as to what's in every direction. Appalachian Trail South, so I'm assuming the other direction is Appalachian Trail North. It doesn't say anything. But if you look way down the trail there, you see that little white blaze right there in the middle. That's painted on a tree. In the fog, you can't really see it. But on a normal day, it would be clear as bell. But I can tell you this, I'm not a fan of these. Trouble is, I have to put my glasses on to read them. I don't wear my glasses when I'm hiking. They fog up, they get covered in sweat, they fall off my face, they slide down my nose. They change the perspective of the ground when I'm looking down. So honestly, I don't need them when I'm hiking. I only need them to read. But I don't like having to put them on every mile and a half, sometimes every 300 feet to read these things when I come to these intersections. There should be a clear white blaze painted right here. That's as easy as pie. I would know then this is the direction to go. Okay? All right, rant over. 900.
She got on the trail pretty early because I think she was out
Where do you go to
by
school?
like 8.
I go to Penn State.
But yeah, I haven't seen
May
her, so I'm
20th
assuming
was
she
when
probably pulled
I
the 20
was
that
in Georgia. Like that, she was.
Hey everybody, I was just taking a short break. Thought I'd chime in with a huge thank you to my good friend Craig Nowicki, who drove over 850 miles to come up to Waynesboro and deliver these brand new, what were brand new, gators. These little bad boys here that I used to keep the rocks and sticks out of my shoes. I had a pair of gators, but I used them for the first month, and then they got wet one day, and I decided not to use them for a little while. And I went in about 4 weeks without them, decided I didn't need them, so I gave them to another hiker who said he needed gators. Well, then I got to Virginia. When you get to Virginia, Virginia is a rocky state. People don't tell you that, but it's mostly gravelly, okay? And in these shoes, the shoes, as you scuff along, the right shoe will scuff and kick up a rock, and it will land in the left shoe. And then the left shoe will scuff and kick up a rock, and it'll land in the right shoe. And every time a rock lands in your shoe, you got to stop and take it out. Well, this was happening sometimes 2-3 times an hour, slowing me down. Absolutely ridiculous. The right throwing rocks at the left throwing rocks at the right. You'd think it was Washington, D.C., for crying out loud. They just do what you're paid to do and leave the rock throwing alone. So these gators that Craig brought me have solved that problem. I no longer have to stop and pull rocks out of my shoes, which is wonderful. They're kind of muddy, but that's what they're supposed to do. They're supposed to collect, prevent the mud from getting into your shoes and the rocks and the sticks as well, and they're doing a wonderful job. I just wish our politicians in Washington would take a note on that. Maybe they should all have a pair of gaiters. Maybe if we all sent a pair of gaiters to every politician we know in Washington, D.C., be a lot less rock throwing up there, and maybe they'd get done what they're paid to be doing. Okay, rant over. And once again, thank you, Craig. You're a lifesaver, buddy. I appreciate it. This is one of the coolest spots I've seen on the AT. Looking up, you can see there's a slight ridge line of nothing but rocks, just rocks. And going the other direction, same thing going down. And of course mountains in the background. The trail just kind of moves through here. But it's one hell of a debris field. Wonder if it's always been here. Did they bring these rocks here just to make it fun? First thing this morning, Doc, this deer just walked right up to me. I went to pull my phone out and dropped it. It took off. Spooked it. This campsite's loaded with deer. They were within 10 feet of us last night. Checked into the Baymont Hotel here in Front Royal, Virginia this morning. They were kind enough to let me check in a little bit early. I got here about 10 o'clock or something like that. It was a short hike to get in here this morning. First thing I wanted to do was get my laundry done so I could put on some clean clothes and go shopping. And didn't want to put on clean clothes unless I'd taken a shower. So, you know, it's kind of an order or process to the whole thing. The laundry room here at the Baymont Hotel leaves a little bit to be desired. First of all, the lighting in here is pretty bad. That's the light. It's useless. There's a timer here to turn it on, and I've turned it on for about 10 minutes, but it barely lights up at all, and only one tube is working. Well, there it went up. See, it just turned itself off. Put my coffee down and there, now you can tell the difference. Woo. The washers, there's 2 washers and there's 2 dryers. The washer I put my money in, they had told me it was $1.25, it was $1.50, but I had enough quarters, so that wasn't a problem. And I put my soap in first like I was instructed, and then I put my laundry in, and then I left to go back and soak my feet and get the Luco tape off my toes and try to get my feet cleaned first, and then come back down here and throw it in the dryer, and then go back up and take a full shower. That's not the way it worked. Turns out that the washer never started. It said it did. It said in use, it lit up, but nothing happened. So they called maintenance down here and determined that it's out of order. So there's no more, there's only one washer left. But they brought enough change to let me go ahead and get it. But they told me that I will need to wring it out because the spin cycle wasn't working. So I had to wring out my clothes once it was done and then throw it in the dryer. The dryer they told me was $1. It turned out to be $1.50. But I had enough change, so again, no big deal. Between the two of them, $3 is not a big price to pay. $1 for this soap is about the going rate. But that's your Baymont Hotel laundry room review. I give it a 1 out of 12 stars. Baymont Hotel swimming pool. Just for your reference. I've gone 120 miles in the last 6 days. That's my biggest week so far to date. 20 mile a day average. And I expect to be at Harper's Ferry, about 60 miles from here, in 3 days. So sometime in the next 3 days I'll be checking in again. But the mileage is going to probably slow down again. I hope it keeps at that pace. I want to keep that pace for at least for a little while longer. But I know when I hit Pennsylvania in a week or two, it's going to get really rocky and things will slow down once again. So I'm trying to keep the pace up, but I'm trying to balance that with not giving myself blisters. Blisters on the feet are, well, you're going to deal with it. Okay, everybody has to deal with it. Blister management is not an easy thing to contend with, but you have to do it, and you have to balance your desire to go far with your feet's desire to not go at all. And once I hit that 20 and up range, things can get a little dicey. So I have to be careful and basically just reel myself back in. But one way or the other, had a great week this past week. I hope to have another great week this week. A lot of milestones coming up, the halfway point, the 1,000-mile mark, things like that. Harper's Ferry, the Appalachian Trail Conservancy office. All of those things are going to come up in the next week, and I'm really looking forward to it.